A meeting to order, and we'll do a roll call for see who's present.
Watson,
Here.
Priest,
Here.
McCann,
Here.
Maxwell,
Here.
Lamb,
Here.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Lawson,
Here.
McKnight, Prophet.
All right. First thing on the agenda is a review of the February 2nd meeting minutes, and I trust that everyone has had time to review those. Any discussion?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Lawson,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
McCann,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
All right. And who is going to do the introduction for Mrs. Jones?
I can introduce Ms. Jones.
All right.
We're happy to have her. She came to us from we robbed her from Peter, actually, who's here. But we created a position from our horticulturist to have a full-time volunteer coordinator. And we were getting so many volunteers that it needed to be a full-time position. And so we hired Christina in July of last year, and she's been hitting the ground running. But just wanted her to introduce herself to you and tell her a little bit about what she's got going on.
It's nice to meet you guys. I have a little something for you. Working with the volunteers, we just held the volunteer banquet in January, appreciation luncheon that we do every year. And as a token of our appreciation, made bookmarks for them. And these have pictures of an array of the events that happened over the last year, so you guys can kind of have a visual of like what we do. And I've also got my card on here, so if you ever have any people that have any questions or inquiries about volunteering, so you just pass these around. Thank you.
And she made those.
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, that's fun.
So
She's crafty.
a big part of my job is managing the Adopt a Park and Adopt a Trail program. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that. And basically I work with promoting the program, familiarizing people with it, helping them get signed up, helping them get hooked up with locations, getting them materials, coordinating work days, collecting information on their events and making sure to record those hours for them. And actually this last year, we had 33 groups hold 58 litter cleanups, so that comes out to about one a week. So we've got a lot of really busy volunteers out there, and that was just with litter cleanups. And then for another type of work that we do is habitat restoration, invasive species removal. And that's one of the priorities of this administration. And so we work with groups who get out, identify areas where invasive species need to be addressed. And we're starting, actually, we've got a group that has adopted the area up at Veterans Park, north of the parking lot and down to the lake edge. And we're working every month to do invasive species removal there. We have two groups. There's a university group and then the U.S. Green Building Council. So I go out there, we talk about invasives, why it's important to restore the habitat, and then get out and show them how to use the tools. And we work for like an hour and a half. And everybody has a good time. They learn something. It's fun to get out. And so we're trying to build that program up. So that's kind of one of my priorities that I'm working on right now. In 2014, we had 22 groups do approximately 27 work days with an emphasis on this. So we've got people out there doing that. So if you guys know folks that are interested in getting out and doing something like that, I'd be really happy to set something up with you. It's really fun and people really enjoy it. So, and let's see, I also work with Boy Scouts. This gentleman here will be presenting something tonight, but we work together both as Adopt a Trail partners and looking for Eagle Scout projects. So I look for projects that meet their interests and also the needs of the Parks Department and our parks. So I'm always looking for opportunities for them. Worked with Chuck on a project that was really nice. And then also handle the tree and bench donation, work with the park planners to facilitate those donations happening in the parks. And let's see here, the community gardens in the parks program. We've got 2 community gardens, and you guys are probably aware of that. Walker Park, and then the other one is at former Jefferson Elementary location. And the city leases that part of the property from the school district. And we actually were supposed to have garden registration this weekend, but it got snowed out, like a lot of people's events. So we're going to have that this Friday. But I work with them, getting them hooked up with their plots, taking care of fees, and then working with we've got really great garden leaders who are volunteers also. And we work together to just make sure that the needs of the gardeners are being met. I work with Byron and the Parks Maintenance crew. Right now they're working on building some more limited mobility beds. We've got 5 people this year that are going to be in Walker Park that have requested raised beds. So we've got a demand for that. So that's a little bit about what I do. And if you guys have any questions or know of anybody that's interested in volunteering, please let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Richard, I just might add to that, Christina is a landscape architect by profession, so we're really excited to have her expertise added to our already talented staff. So just wanted to put that plug in.
Okay. Well, I have a feeling you're going to be getting some calls or referrals or something out of this.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Christina.
Okay, and next we have, is Max here?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, are we going to,
Here.
oh, yes.
Just perfect.
All right.
Here we are.
So next we have Max, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name,
Mahler.
Mahler,
Mahler.
to discuss the Friends of Gulley Park donated brick monument.
Absolutely. And do we have any kind of mock-up or anything? No. Okay. Well, I won't show you guys or privy you guys to the drawing that I had.
Come on, we've seen worse.
No.
We've got
Oh,
a
you
board
have
here
it.
if you need to use that.
I would be about the same. The only one that was worse than mine was the actual Masons. He did it on line paper. So we raised quite a bit of money through Friends of Gulley Park and through the Cowpatty Foundation to make the addition to Gulley Park a reality. So what we're looking to do is build just kind of a small monument, kind of a 4x4, something kind of like what they've done at the Veterans Park for Tom Lewis. There it's the Tom Lewis Mile, it's the 1 mile. We'd like to do something similar for the people that donated to make the park a reality. So as far as some of the donors, we had about 26 people donate over $500, and they would all be recognized. We had close to 50 people, individuals donate, several companies, and then we had a large matching grant from the Walton Family Foundation. So that's what we're proposing to do.
Okay. So y'all haven't completely nailed down the design and the location?
Our design is actually, we've got some just red bricks that are going to have people's names on them. And then we're going to mix that. We've actually got Hammer and Chisel, who I think you guys are fairly well acquainted with. Bobby at Hammer and Chisel is actually, they even said that they would donate the top flat rock to do like a big flat rock on the top that says Friends of Gulley Park on the top of it. So they're all in. It's just about, bringing it to fruition.
Okay.
As far as the location, it's something that we've talked a little bit about, and we'd like to do it somewhere maybe on the fence line, kind of symbolically, as that was where the transformation happened,
The old fence line.
the old fence line.
Yeah.
Where it stopped and you saw all the horses on the other side. That's a nice piece of property.
The other side where the donkey was.
All right. And staff's recommendation is to approve that request with your oversight of the project?
Yeah, we'll work with them on the final design and the location.
Okay.
Does that need to come back to the board before approval as far as the
Location.
the
and design.
location and design and all that?
I think we can handle it.
Okay.
It's good, it'll be in a great location. The design, it's bricks and
I'll,
the stone.
I'll draw
so-
it up there.
I'm sure they'll,
All right, so
Don't
we're
encourage
thinking, something, you know, if this is the fence line here, we like on the, well, I guess it's maybe more like this, because we've got the, this is where the fence was, we've got a house right here. Maybe it's actually got a little sunroom, I think.
Is that the scale?
So maybe on the top end, I'd like to just do something about like this with a big kind of flat rock across the top. And we'd have some little bricks with people's names here and rocks kind of mixed in. Something, you know, pretty sturdy that'll be there for a while.
okay.
And the birds?
Looks good.
But this is actually exactly what I sent Connie.
All right.
I think that pretty
Looks
much covers
good.
it. Yeah,
That
that's.
looks
So, trust Allison with the design, please.
We do, and I'm sure that she
I
will bring
motion
us
that we
a
accept this
photograph.
design.
Okay. We got a motion?
You want to mention, go ahead, I was going to have him mention something on the cleanup we did.
We did. So we did a cleanup. We posted it on our Friends of Gulley Park Facebook page, which is now up to, I don't know, like 400 people or something, kind of crazy. And posted that on there. We had on maybe the coldest day of the year, on a Sunday afternoon, we had probably 20 or 25 people show up and come help roll up barbed wire and pull fence pickets out of the ground. And, you know, we kind of jokingly said that we weren't sure if they showed up because they thought it was more of a ceremonial fence removal and they were actually going to have to do work, but they helped either way.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, we've got a motion and a second to approve the project. Any other discussion?
What was the- I missed that.
Charles or Chuck? It's just Charles on your, made the motion, and then David seconded that, I believe.
Prophet,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
McCann.
Yes.
All right.
Wait, I'm not finished.
That's everybody?
No.
No. Watson.
Yes.
Stay busy, get busy.
all right.
it.
That's it?
We'll get it
All right.
going. It'll be way, well, it'll be half as pretty as that.
Okay. Well,
Melanie?
thank you for everything that the Friends of
Yes.
Gulley Park has done to make that happen.
Thank you, guys. It's
We know there's a lot of hard work, and I think it's very nice that you're honoring some folks that helped it.
Yeah, I did.
We feel pretty good. It was a fun process, and these two especially have been pretty fun to work with. So, well, Wade,
One other guy?
one other guy.
Okay.
That guy?
These two within the city, and Wade that sits right next to me. So,
All right.
thank you
Thank you.
guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And then next, we have Parker West to discuss an Eagle Scout project on the Lake Fayetteville Nature Trail.
Hello, my name's Parker West. I'm at 16 here in Fayetteville. I'm going to be working on an Eagle Scout project where I'm going to be building a bridge across a creek behind the botanical gardens. The top left picture is on one side of the creek that I'll be building the bridge at. The bottom right is from the other side of the creek. The bottom left picture is a project that was done a few years ago that I will be basing my design off of and kind of following after because it was a good design. And the top right picture is just a view from where the bridge will be. This is the side view of my design. The bridge will be 70 inches above the water, which is what the current bridge right now is. It'll be 1.5 feet from the ground, between the telephone poles and the ground. The bridge length will be 49 feet total, 29 feet across the creek, and 10 feet on either side due to code. The top will be cedar decking, which will be 3x6 cedar planks, pressure treated. That will go across the entire bridge. The bridge will be 6 feet wide, so that if two bikers come head to head, they could be able to pass on the bridge. 6x6 logs will be used to make 2 boxes that the poles will rest on. Those poles will be made into boxes. The boxes will be filled with gravel to hold them down, and they will be anchored down using mobile home anchors, which will be drilled into the ground. And if there was a flood, those would keep the boxes from floating away. The poles would be attached to the boxes using rebar, other hardware, and screws and things. Ramps will be built at either end until the boardwalk will be built, so it'll be a temporary thing. So we'll probably use like gravel to do that. The bottom view. I was originally told to do a boardwalk, but I will not be doing that anymore. I'll just be building the bridge across the creek. Again, the bridge will be 6 feet wide, so 2 bikers could pass. It'll be made of 3 telephone poles to make it sturdy, since it's a pretty long bridge. It'll be on top of 2 different boxes, 6x6, on either end of the creek. This is a top view. Again, it'll be about 49 to 50 feet long, 6 feet wide, across the creek. There will be handrails on the side. The bridge will be 6 feet wide, but every 5 feet or so, the planks that the handrails will be on will be 2 feet long on each side, so it'll be 10 feet long altogether. There'll be 4x4 posts held by 2x2 braces, and the handrails themselves will be 2x4s. This will all be pressure-treated cedar wood, so it won't rot and get termites and things in it. They held together with galvanized screws and nuts and bolts, and will be attached to the logs for more reinforcement. And this will be about every 10 planks or so. Materials that will be provided by the city, which will be 3 telephone poles, the cedar decking and planks on top, which will be about 49 feet worth, plus a few extras. The gravel and dirt to fill the boxes, and to create the temporary ramps on either side of the bridge until further projects like the boardwalk. The screws to screw in the decking and the whole thing together. Assistance in placing the poles across the creek, because that would take heavy equipment to do and complete. Materials provided by Scouts and me will be the materials to create the handrails, such as the 4x4 posts, 2x2 braces, 2x4 rails, and those will all be made out of pressure-treated cedar, and the 6x6x12 timber to make the boxes that the poles and bridge will be on, rebar to hold it into the ground, the anchors to hold the whole thing down in case it floods, and hardware to attach the poles to the boxes. Any questions?
Do you get donations for yours?
I'll talk with other businesses around to see if I can get those donated.
What's your time frame?
I was probably gonna start sometime in April, and it'll take a few weekends to complete, most likely, because it's a pretty big project.
And some of your other scout troops are going to help you, I presume? Okay. All right.
Parker, that sounds great. That's something we really need in that area. I'm glad you took on this project.
Thank you.
That's great. I move to make a motion to accept the project as presented.
Second.
Lamb,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Profit,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
McCann,
Yes.
Maxwell.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Parker.
Well, Parker, good job with your proposal as well.
Good artwork.
You're better than Max.
It's a lot better than Max.
I was thinking when it was up there, I was getting him to draw mine next time.
I'm sure you can get his number. All right. We're now on item number 7 of the agenda, and this will be Matt Mihalovich's presentation of the active transportation plan update. Oh, and Peter as well. All right.
Mostly Peter.
Mostly Peter.
I'm going to sit down. Yeah, sounds good.
Let me roll on Jared.
Yeah. Thank you for having us back again. If you will recall, we were here at the last meeting. Full screen mode, I see it right there. Is that what you're going for? Yeah, right there. Okay. We were here at the last meeting to share the draft of the city's active transportation plan with you all. Just as a review, again, this is an update to the existing FAT plan, Fayetteville Alternative Transportation and Trails Plan from 2003. So we're updating a 12-year-old document with this plan. And it essentially sets a roadmap for bicycle and pedestrian projects in the city of Fayetteville without prescribing specific projects. So it sets the goals and the vision for what types of projects we want to complete in the city, but it doesn't actually list out any of those specific projects, and we can go into the details of why we're doing that if you all are interested in discussing that particular component. But just as a review, let's see, we have the plan broken up into 6 various sections as presented here. I kind of want to do it this way where I can go page numbers, stuff like that. Yeah. And we have a fair bit of educational components in the plan. For example, we talk about the timeline of trails construction in the city of Fayetteville. We also show the history of how much trail construction there's been over the past several years. We also try to educate folks about the types of bicycle infrastructure that we have in the city of Fayetteville. We also go into a fair bit on the benefits of an active transportation plan, or of active transportation from a health, quality of life, environmental, and economic perspective. Then we get into, a little later in the plan, the actual goals of the active transportation plan, the 6 goals, which we measure all of our recommendations against. So creating a multimodal transportation system, getting trail connections within a half mile of all of our residents, increasing our mode share, doubling our mode share essentially, connecting missing links, partnering with our advocates, and earning a silver designation from the League of American Cyclists for a bicycle-friendly community. And then towards the end of the project, we go into specific recommendations on types of improvements from both a pedestrian perspective and then also from a bicycling perspective. So we did receive several comments from you all, from the Active Transportation Advisory Committee, and then from some other stakeholders throughout the city and outside the city. And some of the changes that we incorporated into the plan since you all saw it last month include amending the vision statement. Right here, originally we started out with a statement that was much more, it is the vision of the plan to blah, 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 blah. And so we changed that to read, Fayetteville envisions, and we talk about what the city of Fayetteville envisions there. So I think that's an improvement. And we heard feedback from folks that the term active transportation isn't widely understood, and so we maybe took it for granted as professionals in the field that everybody knows what active transportation is, right? So we dedicated a full page to trying to explain to people what active transportation is, and then we go into later, as I showed you, the benefits of active transportation. We spent a little bit of time mending the trails map here. I think originally we showed a map of the greenway that, what did it do, Matt? It showed the roots down here, and we were told not to show the roots. Isn't that the feedback we got from one of our stakeholders? We also went in and on this particular page, originally we showed a cross-section of a complete street, and we liked the cross-section. It's a really good cross-section, but we really felt like a photograph did a lot better justice to showing a true complete street. And this particular street is 9th Avenue in New York City that shows a cycle track over here, of course pedestrians, and as well as vehicular traffic. We also went in where we go into our recommendations. We heard feedback that we needed to make sure and cover all of the 5 E's, both from a pedestrian perspective and a bicycling perspective. So this particular page originally was engineering only, and now we're calling it engineering and evaluation. And there are actions in here related to evaluation as well. The same for this particular item. It was originally just safety, and now we're calling it safety and encouragement to get all of our 5 E's covered. We made the same change here under evaluation and engineering from a bicycling perspective as well. And then finally, originally we had the pedestrian recommendations ahead of the bicycling recommendations, and we just flipped the order of those two and other substantial changes to them. Matt, do you want to spend just a few minutes talking about the map?
Sure. Thanks for pulling it up there.
And what's going on there?
The map, is pretty much the same as what you saw before. We did get some feedback from some of the stakeholders. One of the comments was to add this Clear Creek Trail, and that came more from the regional planning perspective, because Springdale is actually under contract with Garver engineers to design this piece of the Clear Creek Trail going east, and actually north it's going to go tie in with the Jones Center for families, so it's going to be a great connection there. Also, the University of Arkansas asked us to kind of add some of their properties more. We weren't really showing it as much, and if you zoom in here, we actually have, let's see if I can guide around here. We had a kind of a connection through the main university campus, and it's labeled number 57 right here. It's actually just sort of what we're thinking about as a route through there that's not a dismount zone, that's a safe area, and it's using that big brick walkway that is between Old Main and the Fall Walker, and then routing around to where it's on the road behind like the Greek Theater, and then over toward Carnell Hall too, where there's a ramp to get people on. So that's all that we were designating there, but they asked for us to kind of show it differently so it didn't look like we were building a multi-shared trail right through their campus. So.
And the way the route is actually shown on the map, it does not go through the present location of the university's designated dismount zone. It goes around the dismount zone on the core of the campus.
Just to kind of clarify that. Otherwise, the plan has been developed for so many years and so much public comment, so that it's, a lot of it's pretty well stayed the same. In general, I mentioned last time there's been a more of a shift from looking at bike lanes, and this is a good example on MLK, where previously we've said that was going to be a bike lane in the road situation. Now we're looking at pulling it back on those busier streets, having a separated trail facility outside of the curbs of the road, and that's been really supported strongly from the citizens.
So how far back from the roads are y'all planning on doing that? And then what are y'all planning on doing? And what's the plan for the cross sections coming across those, coming up to MLK?
We have the driveways.
Huh?
Is that what you mean, like on the driveways? Or?
Yeah, I mean, if it's, is it 10 feet from the road? Is it 20 feet from the road? Where are those going to be placed? And then how, because those are the most dangerous things for cyclists is crossing traffic that is away from the stop sign, that's away from the edge, and specifically, someone coming in or someone turning off that doesn't recognize the cyclist. I mean, I like the other thing that you had, as far as this on street, which was the island separated. I mean, that right next to one another, that makes sense. But something like what's out on 16, you know, that section of pavement that's out there that's separated from the road at Weddington, those are dangerous travel. And for a cyclist, for anybody that's traveling on that, because if you're using it for transportation, you want to be able to maintain speed. You don't want to have to come to a stop. You don't.
Yeah.
Those are, and I don't know if there's a way to correct that out there as well. You know, I know we've got the hump.
Yeah, I mean, we would keep it continuous, and one of the big things that helps is we're doing more boulevard cross-section streets, so then that avoids a lot of that turning movement, you know, like crossover, Garland. You know, crossover to us was kind of a learning road, because unfortunately, I mean, there are bike lanes out there today on that new road. You know, that didn't really work out that well.
No, you don't. I mean, you don't find cyclists with 4-lane divided, traveling at 50 miles an hour. And those lanes are not big lanes either. That's the other aspect of it, is they may have put it in, but all they did was decrease the lane size and add the bike lane. I mean, because a diesel truck like mine driving, it doesn't take much to cross over those small dotted or solid. I mean, that's just the reality. It's barely fits a vehicle.
Yeah.
So,
but we are looking at all of those options in design. You know, we like the green space for sort of safety and buffering, but then where you have those crossings, you really got to look at. You know, maybe it comes back in a little bit.
Well, show that picture again that you had.
Yeah, and that's a cycle track.
That cycle track.
Which page is that on, Peter?
The one in New York City?
Yeah. That.
What was that? That was, 11, I think.
In those high density, high traffic areas that you're talking about, is that what you're looking at doing, or is that?
Maybe it was 21.
Oh. Yeah,
that to me functions for traffic and for the bikes. I mean, it looks like a road.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is an very urban environment, and yep, it all has to be context sensitive, of course. And I mean, I think we can probably all agree that 16 West is not the ideal cycle track or side path treatment.
Right.
And again, is a learning experience, as was crossover. And so we just have to, attempt to limit curb cuts so that we can reduce the conflict points as much as possible, provide the appropriate separation so that we can get at making a facility that's accessible to a large number of users, not just folks that are willing to ride out in traffic, and do it in a way that is context sensitive. So, and again, that's another one of the reasons why we're not prescribing specific projects or cross-sections in this plan, because there's so much context sensitive, design sensitivity that has to be undertaken with each specific project.
Yeah.
So the map and the plan are, kind of, they're very much complementary documents. We're looking for a recommendation from you all, and then after this committee meeting, we're also, weather will allow us, visiting again with the Active Transportation Advisory Committee on Wednesday, and then the Planning Commission next week. And then after that, our plan is to go to City Council with this plan next month.
That's good. Oh, yeah, I mean, I like it. I really like the scope of it. It's a lot there, a lot of information there, and hopefully the community will, really take advantage and understand what's going on. But it's been well thought out.
The only thing I would say, Matt, is something that you brought up on some of those busier intersections. When you have a 4-lane highway and people are turning into side roads, and you have those roads right next to it, try and pull it back off the road as far as you can. So, because I've seen it several times just driving. Cars are so paying attention to the traffic that's coming on, they'll zip right in there, and they're not even looking at the crosswalks that are on the other side. And it's not necessarily their fault. I don't know if flashing lights or something to catch the attention of the drivers that are turning, but That's a very,
And pavement markings and
Yeah.
really just
Yeah.
make it be bright in their face.
yeah, but it's, you know,
But you
I think,
farther,
I think pulling it back to where if they do come in and there is, you know, a potential issue there, that they have enough room to stop without stopping in the middle of traffic, because if you put it up right there and they don't see it, you know, then they stop and they're going to get broadsided it, you know, on the highway. So I think pulling it off the road, I think should be a consideration for a lot of those
So he's
intersections.
in opposition.
on the car, yeah, because you were saying getting closer, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
well-
was,
Well, I mean, I've
Or
seen,
have it be
it's,
in the.
you know, you got the mitigation
Yeah.
there, I mean, this to me looks very different than what is out there on Weddington. You know, this looks like a road, right? I mean, this.
well, this also has stoplights for the bikes. though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put a stop sign or stoplight where it's like a four-way four-way stop, and everybody's got to look, then it's not an issue. But a lot of these aren't for the bikers. There's no stop for them. They continue to go, and there's no place for the traffic to go. I mean, they're already crossing 2 lanes of traffic, you know, and then they're having to also look at bikers crossing. If it's not well lit or well, designated, they don't even see it.
Some of the advanced intersection designs that we've looked at for including cyclists include a signal phase for cyclists, or at least a signaling that gives, like a 2 or 3 second jump for cyclists to get through the intersection before the cars go, and then you
Right.
create that turning conflict. So those are certainly things that we're looking at, and the mayor's actually expressed a strong desire for us to look at some intersection treatments like that.
I mean, if it's on your radar, that's all that I ask. I'm sure you guys will, figure out a way to get.
There's a lot of information out there. It's developing throughout the country, and so we're trying to stay on top of all that. The best ways to do this stuff, because I mean, it is changing nationally too, away from that bike lane. I mean, that was always the answer before. Put a bike lane in the road.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
did
that's-
our thing. We did good, but
Yeah.
no, it's not enough. It's not enough to get the huge group of the population. 2/3, I think, say it's a lot of surveys that they would get out and ride their bike if they had a comfortable that they felt safe on. And what we've been feeling is that the trails are places that people do feel safe on, and we see that usage. And so that's kind of the idea, is to try to create a trail, but we can't, we don't always have these beautiful creek corridors going to all parts of the town, and so we need to be looking at the road corridors as well. But it comes in all of those things to evaluate.
And I think you got, with our bike system, with the trail system, I think the majority of people that are out utilizing the trail system are out exercising. It's not active transportation. Yes, there's a percentage of it that it is, but I would say it's a very small percentage in comparison to the traffic that's out there.
We've actually
I
done
don't
some
know.
surveys, and particularly during commuter times,
Certainly
there's
see
a
spikes.
pretty high number of folks, particularly in the core area around downtown Fayetteville, that are, going from somewhere to somewhere else for transportation purposes, yeah.
And our surveys, and some of the surveys have shown that, people are using it to get to work.
So the other thing about bike lanes too is, here it is, we had this big snow, you had ice and all that, and you got sand and gravel and all that.
Where's it all?
And the cars, no big deal. And all that gravel ends up in the bike lane. And so then you got dangerous, riding for cyclists because of that issue as well.
That actually came up at the Active Transportation Committee meeting last month, and the Transportation Director was here, and the committee members visited with him about setting a higher priority for getting those bike lanes cleaned, and he was receptive to that. Yeah.
But I think that's another advantage to the side trail, is that it just doesn't have all that crap in there, all that gravel and stuff.
No, yeah, it wouldn't.
It'd be just the same as the trail.
We had that same
turning movements.
discussion in here a year ago when it snowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
You have to put all that gravel out and so on.
So what was their response? Transportation?
Yeah, they're gonna,
I mean,
he's saying to make a priority.
Yeah, he expressed that they would make a priority to because they do street sweeping after putting out, gravel, because it's everywhere. It's on all the city streets, not just the ones with bike
They
lanes.
reclaim the gravel that way too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, they do.
And so
Vacuum it up.
he said they would put a priority on those bike lanes from a street sweeping perspective.
All right, any other discussion? I understand that staff's recommendation is to approve the plan as is proposed. Do we actually need a vote on that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd like a vote.
Motion that we accept the active transportation as it is.
Second.
All right.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Beautiful. I think y'all done a banging
Yes.
job on it for sure.
Profit,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
But
Reese,
yeah, I'm not
Yes.
negative about, I'm not negative
And-
about it.
Yes.
I think it's really good.
Maxwell,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
But, you guys, there's always stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really. It's okay to make mistakes, just figure out how to take advantage of those and learn from them. That's it. Yeah, that's just human nature.
All right, well, we appreciate the ATAC and Sustainability Department and Parks Department and Trails Department for putting all that together. It looks like a lot of time went into that.
Yeah, yep. Well, thank you guys for taking a look at it and giving us your feedback. We really appreciate it.
All right. Oh, we do? Okay. All right, next we have a parkland dedication for Grand Retirement Community. And Allison, you're going to be presenting that?
So we have a retirement community being proposed in the northwest quadrant of the city. It's out sort of by Sam's off 112 and Truckers Drive. And they're proposing 102 what we consider multifamily units. They are requesting to dedicate money in lieu. This is their current site plan. The site's about 20.5 acres. If they were to dedicate land, it would be 1.43 acres, or the money in lieu is $57,120. We do have Shiloh Trail within the service area, and there's a trail corridor that is planned on this property that Matt might be able to talk about. We do have developer representatives here if you have questions for them about the site or the program that they have proposed for the site. Staff is recommending money in lieu for this because of the trail connection that is planned for the site and the types of amenities that they're already providing for their residents. And I think that's it.
Now, where would the
Sorry.
the two existing projects that are out there now, one's Wellspring rehabilitation, and then the other is, I think, an assisted living facility. Could you show us where those lie in relation to this?
I'll give it a shot. My name's Red Howard. I'm with Risley Architects. Truckers Drive.
I see them on this map.
Yeah.
Here and here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Where are they on that other?
And actually, the 20 acres that's in question
Side plan.
is really right in here is our development property. So Truckers Drive swings around, and yes, you're right. I think the assisted living is right there.
Wellspring's on up.
So where Truckers Drive currently ends, you are going to extend that road into the project?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Just Truckers Drive.
Matt, is there going to be some kind of addition onto the Shiloh Trail? Some kind of connection or something there?
This one?
Because if we're going to use that as a...
Purple.
Okay.
We have, it's built, this is Sam's Club right here.
Right.
So it's built, along here, so the plan is to extend it
That's where
up.
I was
And
getting
sorry that
confused
last one
was
covers
that.
some of it, but this is the Clabber Creek Trail, so it's going on out.
Okay.
And then right now, this is the Van Ash portion of the Clabber Creek Trail, it's under construction. So we'll actually just have a piece right in through here. There's a new church going in right here, and they're building the trail in front of it as well. So
Okay.
we're really starting to get a lot of pieces together. So it'll kind of T here, so you have, south to Shiloh or west to Clabber.
So one thing, I'm Jason Allen with ESI. One thing on the number of units.
That was for the main facility, and then we have some cottage units outside of that. So the 102 units were just in the main
Main building?
and then
In the
yes.
main building?
And then the cottages. I just want to make sure that
Okay. They'd still be considered multifamily for us, so they'd still be assessed at the $560 per unit
So there's-
rate. So what's,
potentially 16 cottage/duplex units, and then around 33 other type single-family type.
Okay. So that total money in lieu requirement will change.
yeah.
And we're not
What we
set
got
on
in
the total
here.
number of units. I just want to make sure that, you know, when we come back, there's not
Sure.
200 units and there's a question there, so.
We'll adjust the amount of money.
I'm sure you would. So
We figured you would. And part of this is contingent. Right now, we're in the early phases of this. So our owner is we're trying to put the pieces together, and he's working with the contractor and our engineers, and we're trying to come up with what this thing's going to cost. So, for example, performa-wise, if he can make this thing run at 102 units, okay. But if the performance says, based on the price of land and the development cost, you really need 130 units to make it profitable, then that's where we would start adjusting those numbers. And we completely understand that once we get a solid number on that our contribution to the parks needs to change. I would like to point out to everybody on here, and I realize the parks that you guys are referring to, at least I've tried to wrap my head around it, is you're talking about city parks and community parks. I would like your committee to know that in addition to that, we are planning on having our own internal park. We have some really nice green space in the middle of our property, and a lot of the people that will live here. Sam, what's the minimum requirement for age to live here?
55.
55. So, as you know, we're going to have quite a few elderly. They want their own park, and we're going to make that the dog park most likely because most of these residents will have animals, and we want to give them a specific place to go. So, we'll have some internal walkways as well. We'll have internal walking paths for them, tying all this together because we want our community to have some of their own private park area, and we realize that that's separate from your public parks, but we wanted you to know we are considering that when we're doing our design.
I'm excited on the fact that our trail system feeds into the retirement system to help keep them active and out in the community. It's really cool.
I'm glad they're including dogs, too.
And dogs too.
Does additional units, that doesn't change y'all's,
Field Trail Village doesn't allow dogs.
that doesn't change y'all's recommendation?
No animals.
I think it looks great.
All right, and staff's recommendation is also is money in lieu, and that's also the developer's request.
Correct.
All right.
I make a motion, we approve.
I second.
Moffett,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
McCann,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Maxwell.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I believe we're on to the announcements. And it says March 1st, 71 Classic, which I believe was canceled and
15th.
rescheduled for the 15th.
15.
Okay. March 2nd is summer camp and pool staff positions open. March 3rd is to approve contracts for construction, testing, and construction administration of the Regional Park Phase 1. And approval of the intent to utilize federal funding for the construction of a boardwalk at the lake.
I might add also on the agenda tomorrow night will be a request to sell the 2 lots at Gulley Park. It's on the agenda
When is that?
tomorrow night.
And March 7th, spring soccer games and First Touch begin. March 13th is the Cow Patty Run at Gulley Park.
5:45.
5:45 in the morning.
Friday evening.
Oh, Friday evening.
I think daylight savings is right, the weekend before that,
Okay.
This Saturday.
this Saturday.
March 14th is the Shamrock 5K and 1 mile run. March 16th is the late registration for youth softball. March 21 and 22nd, USSSA Youth Fast Pitch Tournament. And where's that going to be at?
Here, Hampton.
Okay. And March 29th, Hog-Eye Marathon and Relays. March 30th, adult softball spring season begins. Is this May 2nd?
May 2nd.
Okay. May 2nd is the Arkansas Razorback Greenway grand opening. And then also, we wanted to add to that, FNHA is presenting a check for the Gulley Park purchase when?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
And we,
5:30, right on the first thing.
Okay. Any other announcements?
There's a,
elaborate on that any?
sure, yeah. The, there's mention of the invasive species removal. Pete Heinzelman called me today, and they're gonna, on Saturday, March the 14th, from 8 to 10 in the morning, they're going to remove some more bush honeysuckle from Gulley Park. And so bring clippers and bow saws, and they'll cut that off and then paint the tops of them with the Roundup, so they won't, to get rid of the bush honeysuckle. So they've got that planned. Like Max mentioned, the $130,000 was raised. We had a private donor that gave $20,000. We have a local home builder that gave $30,000, and then of course the Walton Foundation gave a matching grant of $65,000, and then a lot of individual contributions. We were talking about one fella gave like $4, and Max said, "I know him." He said he gave more percentage of his income than anybody else that gave. So it's neat to see that. I had a lot of people come forward and really want to be a part of that, and it's been a good thing. Glad we could do it.
And they raised it. It didn't have to be raised until 2017.
Right.
They've already raised it. That's good.
That is good.
And the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association will ask you to please draw your attention back to the money that the $300,000 they need to continue to raise for Mount Kessler.
Mm-hmm.
They're having that in April, is that right? April, did we announce that?
The
Is it like Sunday, April 15th?
April, is that right? April
19th.
19th, Sunday, April 19th is the Mount Kessler fundraising, FNHA,
oh, that's right.
at the Pratt Place.
Something like that. The first gala.
First gala. All right, any other announcements? Okay, we'll be adjourned.
Motion.